welcome to another edition of the OXBC podcast and videocast. Today we're joined by not one but two OXBC members in the form of Daniele Mensi of Nexthash and Tim Vasko of Blockcerts. Welcome, guys. How you doing?
We're great.
Hi.
Great. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
So let's start with you, Daniela. So you are in Switzerland at the moment, I understand. How's things there? And also, if you could just tell us about Nexthash and what you guys are doing and what Nexthash is about and who you hope will adopt the technology.
Yeah, so thank you for the introduction. First of all, I'm in Switzerland still for a while. I will change places because now I'm not spending much time in Switzerland. I'm just flying over. And so it's time for me, probably at the end of the year, I will move in the countries where Nexthash is a day-by-day presence, like the UK, Malta, and other jurisdictions. So yeah, I'm the CEO of Nexthash. Nexthash is essentially a regulated exchange, which initially has envisioned and now is doing on the blockchain space. We believe a brand new regulated way of doing and handling any type of digital assets, from cryptocurrencies and utility token, asset-backed token, and later security token in a fully regulated environment. So what we believe is that for a period of time, so the crypto movements have taken advantage of lack of regulations in a way, so as to reach a kind of adoption by a certain audience. And at the same time, we are much more focused on the institutional players and the traditional finance guys that are, embracing a new way of investing into new digital asset and new asset class. So this is what we're doing.
Fantastic. So yeah, not to put any spoilers out there, but I was looking into Blockcerts as well, and I can already see a way that you guys can combine. But we'll talk about that later because I know that's happening. But so maybe over to Tim, if you could give us a little briefing on Blockcerts and what you guys are doing.
Thanks for having us, Carl. Yeah, Blockcerts is what I'd like to say is a smart contract as a service or blockchain as a service platform. We're a fully integrated suite on top of the Blockcerts blockchain. We've been at this for a long time. There's 1.7 million man hours into the platform, so it's huge, as Danielle knows. And we were excited to get together because following the mission of Nexthash and Nexinter, the exchange, we can put an entire back office behind this to really create that blockchain-based automation, tracking, smart contracts, KYC, AML, all in one place. And as Danielle says, and we've had many conversations, obviously, as we formed our joint venture about what the issues are in the markets, we want to bring stability and usability and inclusion into the capital markets. And we also want to make sure that investors, the businesses that are tokenizing, have the tool sets to actually run companies like this that are then tokenized, funded, and operating. Blockcerts has all of that. We've got over 400 apps already built, all turnkey, so businesses don't have to worry about all that engineering that goes into that. It's a massive undertaking. I think that's why we see so many blockchain projects that still as here's an idea, because it takes a lot to do this. But we're really excited. Nexthash gives us at Blockcerts a partner that we can really engage into the market and become a force to drive blockchain forward. And I think it's important.
Yeah, I mean, you've hinted at the partnership there. So let's go back to Daniela and just see, Daniela, what do you think in terms of your partnership with Blockcerts? Where do they come in terms of your exchange, and how do you see that working?
So, so first of all, I think before talking about the details of our business, me and Tim, we share the same level of energy and frequency we put in the way we're doing business. This is from the macro perspective, because what we both envision and doing at the same time is a real end-to-end to deliver service products, to deliver a promise that at the end has a real utility to the market. So what we believe and what we don't do actually is build probably the best tech in place, but with no real customers because there's no market in the back. So we have reversed this approach saying we deeply believe that when I say blockchain adoption, it's really a big word. It's a big buzzword because there's no blockchain to the eyes of consumers at the end. It's just technology, right? Mm. So what team has been doing greatly with Blockcerts, it's really used the best of the blockchain, the promise of the blockchain, meaning cryptography, and making sure that every single touch point in the process of tokenization, in the process of issuance, in the process of compliance, it's fully secured by the blockchain technology stack. And what we deliver on top, being an exchange, meaning being the gateway to the market. When I say market, it's both investors and customers at the end. I put under the same umbrella, communities. So the exchange is like the gateway, which is exposed to the movement of markets. So there is a perfect synergy into this model to deliver the promise of having a full end-to-end solution when it comes down to tokenize any and every type of asset or utility.
So whenever we talk to guys from exchanges, the word regulators always comes up. And I was just wondering, with Blockcerts on board now and the possibilities for KYC and AML, how does that help you with regulators especially when you're talking about doing STOs potentially and tokenized securities? How does that work?
I can jump in from a technology standpoint. So basically, when we're looking at regulation, I think there's going to be this massive shift in regulation to real-time regulation. So if you think about, as Danielle says, the promise of the blockchain, it's that every transaction and the entire life cycle of onboarding, which we call KYC AML, through that entire process is modeled and recorded on an immutable ledger. So if we can do that, we can now co-opt in regulation. We can co-opt in regulators. Not only that, and we all know this is technology that's been there for a long time. Google IP maps the world, right? So there's no reason that we can't now with smart contracts, and in fact, we're doing this in jurisdictions, jurisdiction by jurisdiction, mapping to the regulations. So every country has a regulation. In some cases, like the United States, every state has a regulation. Interestingly, I'm in Las Vegas right now at the giant cannabis conference, and 50 states have adopted cannabis and the national government hasn't. And I'm from Canada and the national government has. So you can see this massive shift in regulations as well across many industries. What blockchain brings to that is real-time regulation, the ability to actually incorporate regulators, and instead of what I call after-the-fact regulation, we can bring in RegTech. And RegTech is now if a transaction isn't compliant, it just doesn't go forward. And if something's happening that's an anomaly, it can be stopped. Smart contracts, blockchain can do all of that. So we create a new model of, instead of the auditors coming in after the fact and saying, you did this wrong, you did this wrong, you did this wrong, on the front end, we're like, you did this right, you did this right, you did this right. And we now have legitimacy for the regulators, for the investors, for the businesses, for the exchange, and hence build a more stable market. That's how I see RegTech as part of what Blockcerts can deliver in conjunction with Nexthash.
Well, what we are doing, just to add a bit, we are anticipating some probably new requirements that will come into force into the regulation space. So we're trying to adopt, or we call it a proactive compliant approach, in the sense that we don't have to just, take in the compliant element of the fact that we're doing business in certain areas as a cost, right? So we rather believe this as being an opportunity, being proactively compliant, in the sense that, I give you a very simple example. We as an exchange, we make money by listing tokens and by trading cryptocurrencies. It's a transaction business, essentially. So, and then the more we list, the more we transact, the more we make money. So technically, we should not stop anyone in listing a token to our exchange. We don't do that. So we want to list only tokens which we believe have an element of compliance. It doesn't mean we have to like them, because we are kind of a centralized exchange in a way. Okay, it's not like we like or not. It's just the token should have a structure. We should be ready to put compliance on top. It's not because of we like or not. They have to be structured in a way to comply as a framework. And that's what the team and Blockcerts driving, meaning having an end-to-end solution from KYC. Is not only KYC, but it's also back office process, which is enormous for people that didn't see in the tokenization space, which brings a lot of value if done under, let's say, the element of the blockchain itself, meaning tracking every single transaction, hashing every single activity, so as anyone can come and audit at any point in time since day one. Right. Okay, and it's not like we have to comply with the law. We track everything.
And as Danielle says, and I really want to point this out, we call that cost compression as well, because we're driving down the cost, which drives up inclusion. So now, as he says, we can list really anybody on the exchange, or Nexthash can, with confidence, right? And the barrier to entry of cost and compliance is huge. It's massive, and we're driving that down so that it's inclusive, affordable, and everything from the smallest token offering that's just a really good business model that needs legs to get out there and access to capital, to giant projects can really control that and be included and be compliant.
Well, that was going to be my next question, actually. In terms of, do you see there being a bit of a challenge attracting some crypto projects who perhaps don't have any interest in paying the extra to be compliant? But as you said, if you can drive down the cost, that will widen the scope of your audience in terms of the projects you can attract. But do you feel like there's still a communication job to be done then, in that sense?
I would say yes. There is I would say there's no lack of understanding. There is confusion about compliance. First of all, there is a barrier at entry. I give you a very simple example. So if you want to tokenize an asset and you want to do a security token offering, okay, you have to be ready to pay something in the hundreds of thousands of US dollars to do this process end to end, and it's very expensive. Imagine that you have an asset which is worth 1 million or 2 million. Are you ready to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for an asset which is worth this amount of money? Probably not. So the STO should deliver, at least that is what the STO is meant to be, should deliver the promise of being cheaper than the traditional IPO-like processes, right? So right now we are in a way using the technology stack as the element to do an STO as opposite to IPO or traditional funding with no real financial benefit, number one, and with an operational complexity which is not that different than the IPO itself or similar processes. So what we believe is there are two barriers. Number one, pricing, and number two, the complexity of running this type of business or this offering. So we believe we be doing this, okay? So especially from an operations standpoint, having from a token issuer perspective, a clear understanding, what does it mean to tokenize an asset? It's very cumbersome because people in the space usually address one piece without giving the full picture. So the idea is to reverse a bit and giving a one-stop shop, as we call it, at what we believe an affordable price for every and any type, not only STO, but every and any type of token offering, including asset-backed and utility tokens.
Yeah, that's going to be really important going forward, especially, you know, a lot of projects have trouble with funding, and to lay out that extra expense to be compliant and to go the full hog it's a tricky one. Yeah. So in terms of your partnership then, how did that come about?
Well, thanks to OXBC.
Yeah, thanks to OXBC, exactly.
Quick OXBC plug there.
It's amazing. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Me and team were not a part of the same group. We're not part of the same class. But thanks to our wonderful Telegram group. And then, so actually I reached out for a query. Then me and team, that was somewhere in May, I don't remember exactly the date. Then we had a kind of an offline check. We started discussing and, you know, confronting each other for months. It's not something which did happen in one day. And after a while, on both sides, we were convinced we can do something greater than what we initially envisioned and imagined. And actually, at least I'm super excited what we're trying to do, because it's far way bigger than what I imagined at the beginning, and I'm even more excited.
Yeah, and to echo that, I reached out to Danielle. I can't really remember what it was, but it was a very interesting post, and we had these conversations, and we started to see that by bringing these two components together, that front end access to the market and the back end that we do to support the market, and by being able to provide these services to any size, as he said, it just became obvious that this is a huge need in the market. We could really make an impact quickly because of all the work we've put into both of our organizations. So the rest is history. So thanks, OXBC. It's just, it wouldn't have happened without that group being there. And it's been incredibly valuable, and it's going to be more valuable for us as we move forward.
And for the low price of £99 per year, I believe, anyone, you can be a member yourself and catalyze some more serendipity, just like these guys. Okay, well, let's talk about what's next. What's coming up for you guys? So, as you're on the chair, Tim, do you want to talk about what's coming up for Blockcerts?
Yeah, we're launching a marketplace that will literally allow every security token and even development projects to come on board, add their project, add their platform, add their app, use the components from a technology perspective. And what we wanted to do was create a way that literally, just like crowdfunding, you could start out small, walk your way up, all the way into this, what becomes quite complex quite quickly, this token offering, or especially security token offerings. So that marketplace will be out in January. We already have quite a few tokens that we're working on right now that are going up on the Nexthash exchange. We'll be announcing those press releases on all of that. We're also bringing in market making technologies, trading, things like that, with some really great market making elements that we'll be announcing. So just a opportunity to really create an environment where no matter who you are or what you do, you can participate in this, and literally driving that cost factor down to where there's no reason not to stair step into a market that gives you access to all of this blockchain technology, as well as the capital that's possible with tokenization.
And I was checking out the Blockcerts site before we did the call, and just in terms of kind of mainstream adoption, I noticed the facility that you've got for people to kind of, just individuals, to have a record of their own certificates and training and have that provable on the blockchain. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, you can prove anything on the blockchain, really. All your commercial transactions, we can deal with any compliant transaction. That's why we're very big in e-health. Obviously, regulated products like cannabis, prescriptions, things like that. We deal with anything that has a compliance component to it, not just the tokenization, but the things that you need to track. And that could be as simple as food. So what we're releasing today, actually in an hour here, is what we call Seed Certain, and that will track everything from the farm to the table, or seed to sale. And so tracking is the biggest component of this. So it makes sense also in a securitized tokenization model that you would want to track from the moment the business or the idea comes to life, all the way to who's putting money in, investing in this business, and the full circle of accountability and immutability on the chain. We've created a system where we can go from cryptography to human readable format and protect that fully with public-private key pairs through our wallet technology that's extremely advanced, and make sure that every person now protects their identity, and every business protects their identity by holding their own private keys. So there's a lot going on here that really, as Danielle says, is the promise of the blockchain, and that's what we're pushing forward. So our commercial side is blockcerts.com. We are expanding beyond that into the marketplace, and then of course Nextinter, and our Explorer is at Blockcerts Explorer.blockcerts.io. So you'll see a bunch of these things come out and be more accessible, and you'll be able to actually see it. It's live. Real transactions are going through it right now.
Yeah, fantastic. Take a look. I'll put the links up on the actual video so people can check it out as we speak.
Great.
Okay, Daniele, over to you. What's next for Nexthash and Nexinter?
So on Nexinter side, so we have quite a packed technical roadmap mostly to support new currencies for wide payment, because we have also crypto. So we have crypto fiat license. So in fact, we hold also payments from our customers to our bank account directly. So we hold the support of new currencies. We're adding new pairs, and we're adding new features, including debit cards. It's very intense in terms of technology development and exchange. It's pretty complicated in a way. It works, and there's a lot of stuff to be done. Especially in Christmas time, we'll be fully working. And then with team, we are working on various STO projects, and probably we will be able to start. So the tokenization of it's an equity-based token as of next week, and then we're gonna announce only once it's done and not the other way around. And we have other tokens we try in the pipeline, yeah, we will announce it somewhere in time once we're comfortable that we can tell to the world what we have achieved.
That's great. Well, definitely keep us posted, and we'll be sure to announce it through OXBC as well.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us, guys. It's been really informative. I've learned a lot more about your projects than I knew from just my own research. So it's been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank
and
you.
thank you, OXBC.
Cool. Take care. Speak to you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Okay.